Welcome everybody to episode 43 of the ADV podcasts, and of course, as usual, we got a lot of important things to talk about.
No way,
today.
For real?
That's the only reason we have this show. Talk about important things.
Well, and fun things.
And fun things.
Come on.
Anyway, guys, we're going to start out, of course, with our usual... What?
I'm going to make a statement.
Okay, go ahead.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Capitol building thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What I wanted to start this out with, so we're all on the same page. There are no parallels between the protests in Hong Kong and what happened at the Capitol building. And that is a statement I'm going to make the foundation of our speech later on. Okay?
I think that's a good way to go.
Okay.
Let's get into what's new, where we talk about what's new in China. And we're just going to start out with something fun. Just got to show this.
We got to probably tell people why and what is happening. Okay?
Sure.
What you're about to see, holy crap almighty, can we just do the super chat real quick?
Okay, sure.
Emmanuel Turnin, thank you very much. That was the biggest super chat we've ever received.
Ever. Thank you.
In the history of mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And I will read your comment later, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so what you're about to see is something that the pro-CCP shills out there probably would never show you, and number two, would deny exists unless in private conversation.
Sure.
How many times would you walk below your apartment or my apartment onto the street at night and see something of this type of chaos happening?
Very often.
Very often.
I have to tell you that it's something that I actually very much enjoyed about living in China, and that is the drinking culture. Remember, I come from South Africa, and it's very much a part of South African culture to drink a lot. Okay, so whenever you go out somewhere, you're usually drinking. And that's just the way I grew up. Mm-hmm. So big sort of binge drinking parties is a big part of how I lived my life growing up in South Africa. Of course, I'm not like that anymore. I do drink a lot, but I've totally toned down. But the fact is, in China, you've got these kind of outdoor and indoor restaurants. Pretty much, people don't go to bars to drink. You don't actually really get bars. You get these swanky upmarket kind of bars these days in the bigger cities, just because they're trying to emulate sort of Western high life and that sort of thing. But people go drinking in restaurants.
Yes.
And it's super common to go and see people sitting outside drinking tons of beer. It's always beer and baijiu, of course. You'll see like
Cognac.
20 empty, big, tall boy, glass bottles of Qingdao or Qingwei or whatever it is. And they just keep coming and drinking. And it's a competitive thing. It's kind of a very immature drinking culture in China. It's always like, I'm going to prove, and it reminds me of me when I was 18 years old, because, that's the legal drinking age in South Africa.
Sure.
Is you go out there and you want to prove you can drink more. So you're challenging your friend, like, come on, man, don't be a pussy.
It's like frat parties.
It's like, cheers, bottoms up. And you keep going until somebody basically pukes.
And that's China. You'll see so many. You have not seen so much vomit in your entire life until you've been to China, whether it's people that are car sick, people that are food poisoning,
drinking.
or people that are drinking. Usually drinking is the cause. Vomit everywhere.
When you go out, especially later at night, to these kind of walking streets and these food areas and these outdoor restaurants, you always see huge commotions where it's either like a friendly, kampai, or gambei, I should say. What am I saying? Mixing cultures here. Yeah, gambei, and they're like forcing each other to kind of drink and that kind of thing. Or it's people fighting over the bill. Everyone's super drunk and they're like, I'm not going to let you pay. And so they get into scuffles about that. That happens a lot. And if you're ever in like just a normal hot pot restaurant or whatever, and it's getting a little late, you'll always hear these massive commotions. People get incredibly loud because they're all drunk at the tables. But this often leads to actual proper conflict, like actual fights. And whether it's people at the same table get into a dispute or people next to them get pissed off because shit's been spilled on them or whatever, you get these kind of confrontations. And it's something that you kind of get used to in China.
Sure.
Yeah. So... Well,
without further ado, this is probably the best one we've ever seen.
It's hilarious. So we'll take ourselves out of here. We're going to play it
we'll play it once
entirety, and then we'll break it down. We'll break it down. So let's just go for it. I love the chair.
Yeah, the chair's great.
Okay,
so let's go back here. Let's do a blow by blow here.
Yeah.
Now, before YouTube gets angry, I'm just going to throw this out there. You can't really see clearly any
Sure.
very clear physical contact. A lot of it's censored by the table, which is great for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the title of this video is actually called I Just Wanted to Eat My Kanji in Peace. Because as you can see, there's a man, if you scroll forward a little bit, there's a man trying to eat some porridge.
The guy filming it is trying to
eat his porridge. And he's trying to enjoy himself. And he's rolling his camera while this chaos is happening between grandmothers, young men, older men. So let's have a look here.
Yeah.
How do you think this probably started?
It's hard to tell, but it happens, like I said, either people get pissed off about who's paying the bill. You know, when everybody gets kind of to a certain level of drunkenness, anything can happen.
Sure.
It's just common in all cultures that fights can break out. I mean, if you go into a bar in South Africa, especially if it's an Afrikaner bar, man, you better watch out because, you know, you'll get this thing. It happened to me this one time. I'm in the bar and I went there and we called it a bonehead bar. And that's where the Dutchman, it's like I don't know how to explain this, but like you get these very staunch Afrikaners and they're kind of like rednecks. I'm not saying all Afrikaans people are like this. It's just a subset.
These are the European Dutch people that moved to Africa.
Yeah. And I was in this bar, and I'm there at the bar with a friend of mine, and we're just having a drink, and this guy is staring at me, and he won't stop. This, like, really big, bulky guy, and he's just, like, staring at me, and I turn around, he says, "What you looking at?" And I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "You're calling me nothing," you know? And it's just, you know, you get that, okay? It happens. So you get bar fights everywhere and stuff in the world.
Well, I just wanted to point out, though, like, when I lived down south in China, these restaurant fights were just so common.
Yeah.
It wasn't to the scale, but, like, well, sometimes. But it didn't usually involve these older women.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, what would happen is someone would start screaming, they'd throw a bottle, and then someone would call their friends, and then they'll just start beating each other up. Sometimes knives were involved, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's,
but when I lived up north, it was kind of like what you just said. It would be somebody that's staring at someone's too drunk, and it's just bullshit. This like machismo bullshit. And a brawl would break out, it'd spill out into the street. And people just don't realize how common it is. Yeah. You know how often this happens. But anyway, so my favorite part here, so we can scroll through here. This guy starts getting into this brawl back here.
Oh yeah, you see the guy. There's a guy busy punching someone on the floor.
Right, which you can't see.
Yeah, I'll get us
out
of here. Yeah. So there's a guy who's wailing on someone on the floor there, right?
Right.
Then that guy
he tries to escape.
You see, he's crawling under the table to escape. So this guy picks up the boiling
hot pot with his bare hands,
which he splashes all over himself, basically, and then he throws it onto the guy escaping.
It's boiling. Yeah. Oil and water.
Yeah, but he hurt himself more than the guy on the floor. Look at that. And then
I just love the guy still eating.
Yeah, exactly. He's just carrying on eating. And then like
the woman's like, yeah,
get out of here.
There's more going on.
This guy comes to grab a bowl to use as a weapon.
Right.
You know.
So let's continue.
Yeah, I'll just play it a little bit. So he goes off, and then
in the background, bam, you got Bam Bam Bigelow.
Exactly.
With
versus
the chair.
Doink the Clown.
With the chair.
Yeah.
Wham Bam Slam, thank you, man.
Yeah.
I just love that there's boiling hot pots involved. It's just pure ultimate chaos. But if you keep going, I like that at the end, a piece of broken beer bottle lands. If you go right at the end there.
Okay.
It lands at the porridge boy's bowl.
Does it? I don't see it.
You'll see.
Okay, where? Oh, was it
there's a shard, a massive shard. It lands. You can actually watch it land.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Let's try again. No.
So someone smashed. Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Anyway, the guy smashes the thing and it just flies right next to his bowl. He's still sitting there filming. Yeah. That might have been his turning point to leave, though.
Probably.
Anyway, we just thought that was very, very funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So I just wanted to show you that these kind of chaotic things break out. It's fairly common. And especially if you're on WeChat, you'll see a lot of these things shared around. There's always some nonsense going on.
Yeah.
I just got reminded of another Dutchman incident. I just got to say, it's like it happened to a friend of mine, not me personally. But he also went to a bar and a girl came up and started kind of being flirty with him. And the guy, all of a sudden, obviously, it was a planned thing. So the girl starts flirting with him, and he's kind of like starting to talk to her. And a big burly guy comes up and is like, "You trying to chaff my chick?" Because that's what they say, you know. And he's like, no. And he's like, what? You don't think she's pretty enough? There's always
that makes me so angry.
You have no idea. You cannot escape because
Sure.
if you go out to like one of these clubs in South Africa, there will be a fight.
Sure.
That's just what happens. It's
Sure.
like at the end of the night, someone's going to the hospital.
Sure.
It's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, in China, it's more like you usually won't be targeted as a foreigner. One time though, we were walking out of a restaurant, and a Chinese guy just walks up to my friend and kicks him as hard as he can in the balls, and he goes, "It's because you're American."
Yeah,
that was literally like straight up whack.
Remember when I almost caused one of these?
Yeah,
with Pig's Peak.
I had to hold. That was a bad situation. I'm the moderator.
Yeah, he was the moderator. I gotta admit, I get out of hand sometimes when I drink a bit too much. And this guy walked in. He was wearing one of those pop collar, Laoban t-shirts.
It's just too hard to explain.
It's a polo shirt.
It's like a really shit polo shirt.
And it said Peak.
Imagine a neon polo shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it said Peak, P-E-A-K, like Mountain Peak.
It's a Chinese brand. Sports.
So I was feeling like a piece of shit at the time. I said, hey man, I like your shirt in Chinese. I like your shirt. Peak, great brand. Like us being ironic.
You were being ironic. It was a douchey thing to do, but it didn't mean anything.
No. But he thought I said pig.
Right.
That like English word pig.
The letter I in Chinese sounds like E.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's
you say peak or pig. So he went to go call his friends to come and confront me, and there was this big thing went on, and I was just like,
it was your fault.
It was my fault. I'm not going to lie. But at the end, he was like, his friends were like, you better apologize to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, 对不起
I was like, did you just say sorry?
It was silly. It was a silly. Nobody got hurt. Nothing.
Actually, the boss of the restaurant gave us free beer because he was like, sorry for the trouble.
No, he was like, that guy was an asshole. And I was like, no, it's my fault.
No, it was his fault.
Anyway. Sorry. Complete different tangent.
No, it's fine. It's good context.
Back to what's new, we have to talk about something that's obviously very, very much in the news. You talked about it in your video yesterday.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, go check out my video. It's called What Actually Happened to Jack Ma.
Yeah.
We're going to get a little bit more into some detail about this. Explain. You can explain Jack Ma this time.
Okay. We called it a while ago. Actually, on this podcast, we said, look, Jack
in
Ma's
November
probably going to disappear.
Right.
Okay. And he did. And this is unfortunately what happens. They say in China, there's a Chinese saying, it's pretty much around the whole world, there's a saying that's equivalent to this, but the nail that sticks out gets hammered down.
Sure.
Okay? And when you've got somebody like Jack Ma, who became incredibly rich over a very short period of time, became incredibly rich and influential, and just kind of went off the rails. You've seen the ridiculous things he does, like does his own kung fu movies, and he dresses up like Lady Gaga and Michael Jackson and pretends to play the guitar and all that. You put that in your video, it's hilarious. The kind of stuff that he does. But it's just a big egotistical, egomaniac kind of thing that he does. But he became too influential because he's the kind of person that would say something, whether it's based in any truth or not, but because he is so successful, the entire Chinese nation looks up to him as a role model,
sure.
Especially as far as being a successful businessman is concerned.
Sure.
So if he were to say something like, you should buy stocks in the stock market, you can bet your bottom dollar that like 80% of China would suddenly go and buy stocks.
Yeah, he was very powerful in terms of public opinion.
Especially when it comes to financial and business type stuff. So he said a couple of things that the Chinese government didn't like.
Yeah, so he criticized the financial institutions, really. And he did that after he was already threatened. So he was threatened, like the Chinese government basically, they put out, why don't you scroll forward and show so we can refresh people's memory.
Yeah, remember the horse?
Skip that stuff, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I thought that was just kind of funny stuff. Okay, so actually, a year ago, Kyle Bass called this, and I live streamed about this. It says, clockwork. Look at the date here.
Yes.
That was in September. Sorry, it's covered up. September. That was September of 2019.
Yeah, September 10th.
Jack Ma was forcibly removed from his position. So this happened. This is when we started to get alarmed. Stripped of his shareholdings, transferred to 5 unnamed individuals within the same address, and will likely be jailed or disappeared within the next year. This is how she and Wang treat any Chinese that become too powerful. Now, here's the deal.
Yeah.
When Kyle Bass said this, there was conspiracy theory shit being thrown around like crazy. They were like, "What are you talking about? He's not going to be disappeared or whatever."
Sure.
And literally within the next year,
he was.
This is what happened. We also called this.
Yeah.
Now, long story short, if you go forward a little bit,
there
was a very famous thing that happened. I think I put the cloud thing. I guess
no,
I
you
didn't.
didn't.
Sorry.
We talked about that in like a couple of episodes.
Yeah, a couple episodes ago. So you can guys go check that out. But anyway, they put out this thing about this horse cloud thing.
Yeah.
Basically said because his name in Chinese is Ma Yun.
Yeah,
which
Ma
means
means horse,
cloud.
Yun means cloud.
Right.
So they were
said
like,
he
you're
could be
just a
blown
cloud.
away.
You can just be blown away. It's kind of like a public
It was
threat
a threat. And
to him.
2 months later, it happened.
Yeah.
Right. Well, during that 2 months.
He just got blown away.
Right. Now,
Not like, whoa, that's amazing. I'm blown away. Like
a lot
actually.
of I know that's what I thought. I was thinking of
Yeah.
like Home Alone. He's
Yeah.
got blown away, snake.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, what I wanted to get at was a lot of people came out of my video and they're like, "Well, what actually happened to him?" When I say he's disappeared, it doesn't really matter. Like, I didn't say he's dead.
No.
Now, when I say he's disappeared, he probably will come out of the woodworks, right?
After a while.
Either being very pro CCP or very neutered from this whole
Yeah.
scenario. There's a reason he's not in public eye right now.
Yeah, because they have to get him out of the public eye because they need to quash this whole zeitgeist. They need to quash
They
the
need to seize
influence that he
assets.
has.
Yep.
And it's the especially what he was leaning towards with his anti-IPO, his Mai thing, and his idea of the old institutions and stuff. You see, that's dangerous for the Communist Party because then they won't be able to properly control the money. You know, it's something that would be outside of their control. So they're like, wait, this is totally wrong. We've got to get this idea out of the heads of the people. So let's get rid of him for a while. Just put him on ice. You know, he can come back a little later.
You keep using death references, and it's really throwing me off.
Yeah, well, I mean,
let's
right.
blow him away. Let's put him on ice.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Just get him out of the picture. Let this whole thing blow over.
Sure.
You know, let everything
I'm just
kind of
waiting for the
return
next
to normal.
one.
Okay. And then when the time is right, we can kind of let him out on a leash.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
and that's what's going to happen. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh no, he's just kind of retired, or he wanted to step out of the public eye." Are you kidding me? Someone who dresses himself up like Lady Gaga and Michael Jackson and dances around on stage and sings, Unchained Melody and Lion King stuff in front of his, on a massive stage in front of all of his captive audience. He's not going to disappear from the limelight.
No.
He loves the limelight. He'll never disappear. He thinks he's better than Bruce Lee, putting out these like kung fu movies and stuff.
Now the thing is, his arrogance is one thing, but the other thing is that, like you said, the true underdog story is why he got so popular in China. Is that we used to be a communist country that we couldn't do anything, we couldn't make money, we couldn't, everything was under government control. But look at what Jack Ma pulled out of his ass.
Yeah.
He got rejected from KFC. He got rejected from all these jobs and stuff, whether those stories are true or not.
Yeah.
I think it really shows the the rags to riches stories that Chinese people really like, right?
Yeah.
They always have these admiration stories. My father-in-law always used to tell me ones about these little Jewish kids that would like steal the bagels from their parents and then sell them, and then their parents ended up being proud because they were entrepreneurs and stuff. They have all these stories in the Chinese zeitgeist that show these like they were a little bit against the grain, but at the end of the day they became successful, and people love that stuff, right? Sure. So he was like a huge hero to them. Now, the problem is, like you said, this type of arrogance when you let your head get that big. No, I'm sorry.
I don't think that was his choice.
Oh, God, now I'm falling into the trap.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. Yeah.
When
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I do not intend to make fun of anyone's appearance. I did make a point in my video though that someone of his appearance in China would not be successful because of his appearance. So that was
Sure.
That's another thing that people really look up to. Anyway, my point being is that people look up to someone like Jack Ma, and the Communist Party of China just can't deal with that because somebody of that status, with that much wealth, with that much power, with these corporations that can control swaths of the entire population, and people like primarily investing in these things instead of trusting the government, that's a huge thing. So when they put out that threat, we immediately knew that was going to happen.
Sure.
And the thing is, this was all leading up when they stripped him of his title and stuff. That whole year, like, he still didn't keep his mouth shut.
No.
And that was the thing is, the CCP was kind of punishing him. They were going like, "Listen, you gotta kind of stay under wraps here." And he still came out and criticized things because he thought that he was
untouchable.
Untouchable.
That's a thing. That's an attitude that you find a lot in China. Is people kind of. And this happens to expats too. A lot of expats I know, they're like, "Oh, I know people in the police. I'm fine," and they just do their thing. Like, and you're like, "Dude, you can't do that. That's like, it's okay. I got my guanxi, I got my connections. Nothing can happen to me until it does."
Sure.
And that's what happens with a lot of Communist Party officials, people that are connected to the government, corruption, all that. Is they just carry on doing whatever the hell they want because they think they're untouchable until they are actually touchable.
Sure.
And I think the Communist Party does this on purpose to high-flying celebrities and stuff. Simply because they need to prove to the whole populace that, hang on a second, it doesn't matter how powerful or influential you are. You can never supersede the party, and you can never have more influence than us.
So Yeah, I think one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up in the podcast and something I didn't cover in my video was how many times this actually happened. This happens often. Okay,
Yeah.
so people keep looking at Jack Ma as he's the martyr for this whole CCP thing. This happens all the time. Why don't you go to the couple pictures? I have some talking points. This guy here, the next guy right here. This guy's name is Wu Xiaohui, and he was the former chairman of Anbang Insurance Group. You probably don't know what that is, but he was wildly wealthy.
Yes.
Right. 9 months after his disappearance, a trial against him quietly started in March 2018, and he was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Right. He was one of the largest insurers in China.
Yeah.
They liquidated everything.
Of course, and it's incredibly profitable for the Communist Party to seize the assets of these guys.
Because they do all the hard work, right?
Yeah, so they're like, oh, there's a lot of money right there. Let's just grab it. We can use that.
Correct.
Payday.
His mom at one point pleaded for help on Twitter, saying she had no access to her son over the past 2 years. So he's gone.
You do find this a lot, that and this is an unfortunate thing, and I've seen this happen a lot, is that people that kind of despise the West and could really think China's the bee's knees and we're doing it all right. It's only when they get bitten by the Communist Party, or they're bitten by the system that they thought was working with them, that they suddenly see the value in Western freedom and Western freedom of speech.
Rule of law, really.
Yeah, and the rule of law. And that's why you'll quite often see pleads, like you said, on Twitter. You'll see these people going to the West, pleading to Donald Trump, in the Hong Kong protest, pleading anywhere outside, because they're like, hang on a second, we hate America, but you know what? Maybe they can save us, because no matter what we say here, nothing's going to help us. Nothing.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But they know that you could have some success by pleading your case to like the United Nations or some kind of big international organization. So you see that this like switch, like these guys, these expats stuck in China, they think China's the bee's knees. They're like, screw America, screw the West, screw the European Union. And then when they get busted for smoking a joint or something, they're like calling up their embassy. The first thing, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. Can you help me out? I've seen this happen to a lot of people. And it's a massive double standard, you know what I mean?
It is. And it's usually, honestly, if you're talking about Westerners that champion the system, like the CCP, it's people, it's nine times out of 10 people that do not understand Chinese, number one, and do not understand China, the country they live in.
Yeah.
And they like to just look at the fantasy of it.
Yeah, they presume that they have their own idea in their head about what's going on. They walk past and they're like, oh, look at how free everyone is because they're in a park.
Looking up to the pro-CCP type shill people, right? To look up to their opinion because they think they like to imagine and pretend they understand China even though they don't speak Chinese. To look up to someone like that for their opinion about China would be like looking up to, I don't know, like a third grader.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be like looking up to a kindergartner for their opinion on world politics or something. Because if you can't understand the basic fundamental language of the place that you're in, then how are you going to understand how it works?
And how do you understand the laws and stuff? It's the same as if you were to say a fresh off the boat Chinese person arrives in the United States, can't speak English,
not a lick,
doesn't know anything about the laws, and just walks around randomly, and he's like in his own mind, like, oh, I can do what I want. He goes and walks into someone's yard and like eats the vegetables from the ground there, and he'll be like, hey guys, look, this is America. You can just freely go and take what you want.
Sure.
You know, it's one of those kind of situations where you cannot understand the nuances or what's going on around you unless you speak the language. At least, you know.
Correct.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, so the next guy here, I just wanted to shed some light. This guy's name is Guo Guangchang, and he was the chairman of Fosun International, who was basically China's Warren Buffett. Right. Yeah. He was also disappeared. Massive rich dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue.
All right.
I just wanted to go through. Fan Bingbing is a good example. She's not a billionaire, but they'll disappear celebrities just to make sure.
What's going on with her armpit there, by the way?
I don't know. I guess she's just stretched out a little bit.
Anyway, just curious. Is that a growth?
I was more worried about what's going on with the left side of her dress. It's like falling apart. It's like floating away. Anyway, Fan Bingbing, they'll make examples out of just normal celebrities, right? Or big celebrities. She's not powerful. She's not like a powerful...
Dude, no, I mean, come on.
But she's powerful in public opinion.
when this happened, everybody was just dumbfounded. They couldn't understand what happened to her because she just disappeared.
Sure.
Her agents didn't know where she was.
Sure.
Where she was.
I don't
Her
know why
family
people are surprised about
didn't
this.
know where she was. You know, her fans, because she just stopped. All of her social media disappeared.
Sure.
All the kind of movies that she was involved in and stuff just stopped. Everything stopped. Nobody knew what had happened to her. And you have to equate that with a big Hollywood celebrity like, I don't know, you take your pick.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. Yeah, let's use Tom Cruise. Imagine Tom Cruise is just like on the set of a movie one day, like, yeah, promoting his things, and then the next day nobody can find him. And his agents can't find him, and Universal Pictures or whatever can't find him. And none of his fans or family can find him. It's just like, bam, what's going on here? And that's what happened to her. And then she resurfaced like 4 months later.
Thanking the CCP for her disappearance.
Yeah, thanking them for putting her straight.
Yeah.
That she's more
Giving her a
grounded
clear
now.
mind,
Yeah, it's now clear. And they got her on like tax evasion or some crap like that. But obviously,
It's a spectacle. The CCP, it doesn't matter what you think. Even if you're not even this big, at a local level, they can make an example out of someone too.
Yeah.
They will arbitrarily detain people. Look what happened to Michael.
Yeah.
Double Michaels.
Yeah, both Michaels. Yeah.
I mean, this happens often.
Yeah.
You will be made an example out of if it's convenient for the party, and they either need to silence you, seize your assets, or in a smaller case, maybe just make people scared, just not speak out. It's like that guy that got interrogated and arrested because he sent a WeChat message about those damn police officers.
Yeah.
Then the cops came immediately, made an example out of him, put him in shackles, and said, "You better apologize publicly."
Sure.
This is how it's a mafia system.
Yeah.
China's like the mafia. They'll shut you up. They'll disappear you.
Yeah, they will intimidate you by going after your family.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
this is very often.
Yeah.
This is the most common thing, especially your kids and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very sick.
So
But anyway.
Jack Ma's not the first, and he won't be the last. And so those of you who are wondering what happened to Jack Ma, he has been disappeared because he's now inconvenient, and he's going against what the party wants people to believe. And you don't do that, especially if you have influence in China.
Correct.
It's also why we are no longer in China.
Correct. Anyway,
So,
I wanted to go through a couple funniest.
Oh, the funnies. Yeah, okay. We'll go back to that then.
Now, Jack Ma, just to what was I gonna say? Oh, Jack Ma, he's the founder of Alibaba.
Yeah.
And in the process of doing all my research for my video / this one, I just wanted to go through some of the absolutely ridiculous things.
Oh, yeah.
You can buy precursor chemicals for drugs on Alibaba. I'm not even joking. Like precursor chemicals to make illicit drugs.
Sure.
But I made I made a little timeline here, or like a little scenario here. So the next picture here.
Okay.
So after you get your precursor chemicals, you probably need a cartel plane.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you can actually buy an airplane here.
Sure.
For 200 grand, but if you buy 5, you get
you get a
4
discount.
grand off. Then if you're a respectable cartel leader and you want to bury your opponents, you can buy a coffin.
Yeah, the body bags as well.
You could do that as well. Yeah, there is a body. What the heck? You can buy fresh garlic, by the way. Not related, but what we do need to tell you about is if your garlic is from China, and it probably is.
Yes.
It's usually made by slave labor.
Well, you know that how they cornered the market on that.
Yeah.
Is
Tell them.
Yeah, basically, garlic is the process of like peeling the garlic and like preparing it is a very labor intensive, right? And so if you're running a garlic farm, an organic garlic farm or whatever here in the States or in Australia or something like that, first of all, your breath's going to smell bad, I'm sure, but there's a lot of labor involved, and so it's expensive. So in order to be competitive, what China did was they basically got prisoners to do it. And there's lots of footage documenting this. It's an actual fact. It's not hearsay.
No.
So the prisoners don't get paid. Okay? So they cut all the labor costs out. So they can basically just for free get all the garlic processed and then ship it over. And they can undercut anyone in the world because slave labor of prisoners is kind of illegal, I think, in most places.
Really? Oh, interesting.
You can't force them to do this because it's actually really terrible work. It involves soaking things and, fingernails come off and stuff. It's pretty crappy.
It is.
And so, just so you know, if you're getting garlic from China, it's forced prison labor most of the time.
It says greater than or equal to 10 tons for $900.
Yeah, I mean
That's a lot of garlic.
Yeah,
I think the MOQ might be 10 tons, but maybe it's $900 a ton.
Either way, it's
cheap,
super
though.
cheap, and that's why you can't compete.
No.
I
mean, if you talk to this Guangdong Fuyi agricultural products, like you guys don't understand I need to do a video at some point on the black hole of Alibaba because if I got a hold of that company, and I might do this, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Get a hold of some of these companies, and I'll be like, oh, interesting. Like, do you actually use prison labor because you get a little cheaper? I won't tell anyone. I'm sure I can get a response out of these people.
Yeah, probably. But
Which
I mean,
be
it's,
interesting.
there have been exposés about this.
I
So
know.
you can look it up. There's
It's just
proper
it's
documentaries.
here to buy for me.
Yeah.
There's exposés, but you wouldn't expect me to be able to buy it today.
You know, speaking of this kind of thing that's out there in the open, that's something I've always found fascinating about China is, you know, for instance, prostitution is fully illegal,
Sure.
but you'll find those stickers everywhere and the
Yeah.
cards that are out in public that completely tell you what services you can get, and it's got a phone number to call. So like the illegal stuff is out there in the open.
Yeah.
And remember when we ran our motorcycle shop?
Yeah.
Now we were riding through Hunan, and we had these terrible roads, okay? And our like on my motorcycle the license plate fell off, remember?
Yeah.
So I still had my front one, but I didn't have my rear one. And the process to apply for a replacement through the usual like normal things was just horrendous, because if you're a foreigner anyway.
Yeah.
That's why we had to have our bikes put in our wives' names or, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
other friends' names and stuff, because it's just such a mess. So it was such a hassle. And we tried for like a month to get a replacement. And eventually we were like, screw this. So we went on to Taobao, similar to Alibaba. You know, it's basically
It's like eBay.
it's the eBay or Amazon.
Amazon. It's like
It's
Amazon.
Amazon of China. And there was a place selling license plates. So we're like, you know, can you make us a license plate the same as what it was? They're like, yeah, sure.
Because you have a legal plate.
Yeah, I have a legal plate, but obviously it's illegal to forge
Of
a license
course,
plate.
but it's right there. You could buy it right there.
But here's
These
the
are
thing.
criminals.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, should they send you a message? Sure. But then what they do is they say, what is the part number you would like on your, you know, plastic replacement? They
Yeah.
said it's like a plastic replacement on a bike. We're like, okay, and we
Yeah.
put in the part number. Not only did they send us the fake license plate, but they sent us fake actual stickers, you know, like tags that you get on your plates to
Yes.
say like if it's legitimate.
Right.
They sent us actual, well, I don't even know if they were fake.
They probably were real.
They looked like they
They
were
have
from,
connections.
and they said, oh, and if you want a driver's license or anything like that, we can do that
Yep.
too. And it's like, but it's there. It's out there
Yeah.
on the e-commerce.
You can buy
site.
heroin and meth and stuff
Yeah,
on
you could-
Taobao. You just have to use secret code language.
It's
basically.
just ridiculous what you can get.
Crazy. China's such a lawless place.
Yeah, when it comes to,
But still
to that
very
sort of thing. Yeah.
lawful.
What do we got here?
These are Tom and Jerry potato chips. They're also halal. That popped up. I don't know why that. It said if I was interested in garlic, it said I'd be interested in these,
Okay, interesting.
which is interesting. This is a liposuction machine.
Okay.
So if you want one of those for your house,
Sure. Why not?
you can literally. My point is, you can literally find anything. It's the
Yeah.
wild east of the internet.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty
It's
intense.
crazy.
Now, everything that's made in China eventually finds its way onto Alibaba, because if you are the owner of a company and you go get something made in China, so you provide all the designs and you just go to a factory,
Sure.
that will leak to you
Yep.
know the factory owner's cousin or something.
Dude, any product has a million versions.
Yes, and then you'll find OEM versions of your
Right,
product on
yeah.
Alibaba the
Yeah.
next day. That's why it's so dangerous to do business in China, is because you actually end up losing. Not only do you lose all your intellectual property and all your research and everything, because it just gets copied.
Yeah.
But then the copy guys will undercut your own product, and actually force you out of the market.
And then copy guys will do that to their own friends.
Yeah. So just be
It
aware of
happens,
that.
yeah.
We've warned you before.
I
Anyway,
definitely want to do a deep dive at some point.
yeah, we're going to answer some super chats before we go over to our
Yes.
main topic, which is all about the Capitol building and stuff.
Mas Yada, CCP is struggling to find a Jack Ma lookalike. There's actually a lot of Jack Ma lookalikes. There was a huge thing on WeChat for a
Oh,
while.
really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
JD Man, hey guys, pick up some silver bullets on me. We
Fantastic!
will. We will.
Can't wait.
Thanks for keeping up the fight, for spreading the truth about the dangers the CCP poses to their own people and to Western nations. Absolutely, JD Man. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
This person doesn't even have a username. That's interesting.
Interesting. Maybe he's
Like
trying
an
to
anime
select it.
thing.
Maybe it's a little hidden character.
No, that's bizarre.
Is that hidden? It's a alt 0254 is what it is. ASCII code, you know?
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay, thank you very much. And Emmanuel Turnen with the biggest super chat we've ever received.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You don't understand how much that helps us right now, like specifically.
Thank you. Thank you
Please
very much.
accept this modest contribution in Her Majesty's currency, the finest.
Sterling.
Only the finest.
Sterling.
Sterling silver. I'm originally from the EU, super pro-European. Despite this, I decided to move to the UK last July, and I don't really regret my choice. While the EU is betraying its values, signing an investment deal with the CCP, the UK is allowing persecuted Hong Kongers to come and settle here.
Yeah.
I can totally back you on that.
Yeah.
Very disappointed in the EU right now. But thank God we have the US and the UK right now to actually not pull deals like this.
Yeah.
And props to the UK for allowing the Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think it's the correct thing to do. I just wish that they could do the same with us South Africans, you know, who my mother has a British passport, you bastards, you should let me in. Just kidding. Anyway, let's continue. Not kidding.
We worked to get you here. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael Ladd, What a lad you are. Thank you very much. I love what you guys do.
Yeah.
Hey guys, no questions. Just want to say thank you and appreciate the both of you. From Brett Bazam Deman. Thank you very much. Case closed 93. I was driving and I wanted to listen to you guys, but Spotify doesn't have your recent episodes. Is there a reason why? Well, I upload them on Spreaker, so they should be going up.
Yeah, we have
And
this.
we are up to date.
Spreaker basically is a distribution.
Yeah.
So we put it on there, and then it spreads out to Spotify.
I know it goes to
and
iTunes
iTunes.
immediately.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes a little while.
Spotify, it goes almost immediately because I'm
up to date, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry about that. We'll try to make sure
I'll look
it's
into
on.
it after the podcast. Thank you.
Sometime.
Zachary, new infections in Harbin. What is new in China? So, Zachary, actually, we're going to save yours.
We've got a whole
We have
episode
a whole
about
episode
that.
next week that we've already planned.
Yeah.
We're currently getting more information, so we're waiting. We're putting that to next week.
Yeah, I mean, we've got big lockdowns in China right now in certain areas. And for instance, I'll just say one thing that's happened is a friend of mine that's living in Dongguan at the moment has just contacted me to tell me that him and every other English teacher, basically foreign teacher in the city, has been given the day off. And they all have to be tested. Because this is the logic. I think it is a British guy who was in Hangzhou, flew down for New Year's to Dongguan through Guangzhou to go and have fun with his friends. And he went to a couple of restaurants and stuff. And then it turned out that he, somewhere along the line, caught the disease. Now they're blaming him as being a foreigner, which is dumb because he was in Hangzhou teaching, then flew down to, right now, it's you flying around, you're doing anything in China, they're testing you all the time, right? It's not like you don't get tested. So he wasn't positive. He ended up getting positive down in Guangdong, in the Dongguan. Don't get confused here, guys. Dongguan is a city in Guangdong. It's the same characters flipped around, right? So anyway, he got positive. So now the government's like, oh, a foreigner came in here and gave us this disease. Now, because he's a foreigner, he must have mingled with every other foreigner in the city. So let's take all the foreigners off work and test them all. So this is just one of the things that has recently happened. And I'm telling you what, guys, this is just a little tip of the iceberg. We'll get into it next week. It's far worse in China than they make you believe. And that's the playbook. They have to be like that at the moment. They've already announced to the world that they've overcome this thing. So for them to go out there and say, listen, we're struggling, we're having issues here, here, and here, would be a massive loss of face. So that's why right now they're suppressing any real information about any of these breakouts. And so you don't hear about it.
Sure. Save some for next week.
Yeah,
I'm joking. There's
totally.
tons of new stuff to talk about on that topic. Somebody said that every time they see me, they want to eat In-N-Out burger for some reason.
In-N-Out's awesome.
And I want to eat In-N-Out burger. You've given me that stereotype and you're going to make me obese now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last one I'll do. MadRocks303 sub to your patrons. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Keep at it. I appreciate the live streams. We'll catch up with you guys after the next segment.
Right, guys. So now it's Soft Power Hour, where we talk about the ways the Chinese government is weaseling their way into your brain, just like a cult, and changing your mind and programming you to think.
We got a lot of cult aspects coming up soon, especially in your video tomorrow.
Yeah, my video tomorrow speaks a lot about cults.
We'll also get into the cults and some other content as well.
Yeah.
We're on a cult kick right now.
Yeah, and the CCP is actually can be compared to a massive cult, really.
Sure.
But anyway.
Anyway, long story short, this was not going to be our topic until it happened yesterday. Yeah. So there is, I spent all morning perusing the Chinese internet and going through Chinese language media to see what the reaction would be. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I wasn't looking forward to seeing what the reaction to yesterday's events would be on the Chinese internet.
I was
just because it's predictable.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to keep reading the same drivel, but it was exactly as I predicted it would be.
Yeah, me too.
So the statement I made at the beginning of the podcast, if you guys were tuned in, is that to equate what happened yesterday at the Capitol building to the Hong Kong protests is wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe not in the same way you might think I'm talking about. It's wrong because they're completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Now, what's happening here on the Chinese internet in the Chinese zeitgeist is that the pro-CCP type people they're reveling in what happened.
They're loving it.
They're lapping it up, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is that they are equating that fallacy, that yesterday what happened is the same as what happened in Hong Kong, where millions of people took to the streets and tried to fight tyranny and oppression under one of the least free governments in the entire world from taking over their territory. Okay?
I know.
What they're saying is that it's a beautiful sight to behold, is what it says in Chinese.
And we're finding this on all of my videos.
Yeah.
Whenever the 50 Cent Army, they get this idea, I got your moment. They will go to all my videos and copy-paste some garbled shit. And that's what they've been doing. Like, what a beautiful sight. This is real democracy, That's their whole thing. It's like, what they're trying to say is like, look at how bullshit you are. Because I think it was Nancy Pazombi or whatever her name is. That old
Nancy
woman.
Pelosi.
That old woman that looks horrible.
Sure.
She's
wow, that's not very nice.
She looks terrible. I'm sorry, that's my own personal opinion.
She looks kind of mean.
Yeah, she looks like that horrible grandma, like aunt that despises children. Okay. Anyway,
yeah, true.
she said something along those lines. That this is a democracy. It's a beautiful sight to behold. Didn't she say something?
I can't remember if it was her or not.
Well, I don't know if it was her.
It was someone.
Someone in the government. Okay,
Yeah.
It shows you how much I pay attention to this stuff. But someone in the government said something like that in regards to
the Hong Kong
protests when they were happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're kind of using that as a gotcha moment. Oh, yeah? Well, you said that about, the protests and the riots here in Hong Kong. Now we're going to say that about the protests and riots in America.
Sure.
But you can't equate the two at all.
No. So I actually want the China release a public statement.
Yes, let's take a look.
From one of our favorite ladies, Hua Chunying.
Don't worry about it.
Who has blocked you on Twitter.
Yeah, she's blocked me.
Always have to.
Yeah.
There's no audio here.
There's no
we'll
audio,
just read it.
so yeah, we'll read it for you guys at home. We'll get ourselves out of here so people can see the subtitles. But she said, some of the US media react differently to the similar events happened in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday and Hong Kong back in 2019. This is the state's official outlet, okay?
But the funny thing is they have all the time in the world to translate.
I know, let's not do it. Okay. The mainstream media in the US all condemn the Capitol chaos as a violent event, using the words rioters, troublemakers, mob, and disgrace.
Do you like that black and white logic there? All.
Yes.
All. Everyone said that.
Yeah.
Everyone said that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's ridiculous. Anyway. But what words did they use to describe the violent rioters in Hong Kong? ? A beautiful sight to behold. Depicting the violent protesters as democracy heroes. And saying American people stand with them. Some people in the US react completely differently to the events in Hong Kong in 2019 and today's events in the US. The sharp contrast, the reasons behind it makes one ponder and deserves serious and profound reflection.
Okay.
Yeah, before we get on to what's going on in the background
let me rip her to shreds.
Go for it.
Can you put her on there? I don't want to look at this like Jurassic Park looking thing.
Anyway. We'll get to that.
Okay, Hua Chunying, here's the deal. Now, I won't speak to her directly. I'll be polite and speak to the subscribers instead. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the problem with this. When you use black and white logic like this, you are insinuating that everyone is exactly the same and has the same opinion, right?
Sure.
So, number one, the first fallacy is that you're assuming that the people, every single person in the entire country, everyone in America, condemn the actions of what happened in the Capitol Hill building.
No, tons of people
So
love it.
obviously some people supported it, right?
Yeah.
It didn't say I'm one of them,
No.
but your first error is just assuming that everyone was against that and it's just got out of control and it wasn't planned and it was completely a mistake.
Sure.
Right? Everyone was against it. Obviously there were some people in support of what was happening. Number two, the issue is the actions of the people that said we support what the freedom fighters in Hong Kong. We support the pro-democracy advocates, Joshua Wong, all these people, and the millions of people the overwhelming majority of people in Hong Kong that supported democracy as opposed to CCP authoritarianism. The people that said it's a beautiful sight to behold are referring to the movement and act of peacefully protesting against Beijing. They are not referring to the acts of violence.
They never did,
and setting things on fire and looting and destruction that did take place. Now, I will admit it wasn't as bad as the CCP likes to admit.
Sure.
And actually, the majority of the violence came from the fact that they hired freaking triads from mainland China to go beat up kids.
Sure.
And there was actual police brutality.
And the police violence.
And police violence. Anyway, that aside, when people say that it's a beautiful sight to behold, and I agree with them, they are talking about the millions of people that stood up for their freedom in face of real tyranny.
Yes.
Okay. When I say real tyranny, in America, I have to take the stance. It doesn't matter what you think. You can be a Trump supporter, a Biden supporter, whatever, a Bernie supporter, this supporter, libertarian. Doesn't matter. You have the ability to change and sway what's happening in the future. And a lot of people like to really get on my throat about this and say, you're deluded and that's not how it works here. That's bullshit. The bedrock and systems of the US are solid. And there is a system here where you are allowed to do this. You can pinpoint and try to find little, what's it called? You can try to find little
examples.
examples here and there that flies in the face of that, like the woman in Florida that was told to shut up about coronavirus numbers, or the woman, unfortunately, who was shot.
Well, that was her fault.
Well, I mean,
didn't she go into like the Secret Service area?
My point being is you can pick whatever you like, right?
Yeah.
In whatever stance you have. I don't even have a stance currently. It just happened. I have to look more into this. That being said, you can look into the scenario and say, oh, look at the failings of our democratic state and all this kind of stuff. But guess what? The people in the Capitol building, to me, just showed what a solid bedrock America actually is.
Sure.
If this happened in China, okay, I'm not talking about Hong Kong. I'm talking
China.
about if this happened in mainland China, what happened yesterday? It would be Tiananmen 2.0 times 100.
Yeah, imagine just going to the Hall of the Peoples or whatever in Beijing, in Tiananmen Square there, and trying to break in as a mob.
Sure.
The PLA would kill everyone.
Yes.
As they have in the past. It's been proven. It's ridiculous that they look down on this kind of thing. The fact that only one person got shot.
Sure.
Shows you just what a good system it is. America gets a hell of a lot of criticism for being like gun crazy, and everyone's got guns and there's gun violence everywhere. I also would think that if you've got this like violent mob breaking into the government building, that there would be a lot more chaos, a lot more people injured and killed, and only one person gets shot.
Sure.
It just shows you how much constraint and that most people have.
Sure.
And the fact that it didn't get out of hand, it's just ridiculous to me. I still can't believe only one person got shot.
Sure. Yeah.
Why
now,
not
there was a lot of turmoil this year in America. We had a lot of the Antifa things. We had the BLM stuff, and then we had the Capitol building thing. These events, isolated events, right? If you look at these events, it does look fairly tumultuous, right?
It does.
Now, the thing is that the core foundation of this country has not been shook, right?
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe that the White House has been like infiltrated by this and that, literally, I could be talking from both sides now.
Sure.
Whether you want to believe that or not is completely up to you. But guess what? You know what happens in the next election is that what happened yesterday, what transpired yesterday, and actually throughout the multitude of events throughout this year, is that both sides now, both parties, if not the entire political spectrum, now has to regroup and figure out how to please different groups of people now. Because there is clearly a subset of people who are very upset who stormed the Capitol building, right?
Sure.
There's a subset of people that feel like they're not being fairly represented. And guess what? Now they have to be represented in some way, shape, or form to allow that democratic process to continue, right? Yes, there is a schism. Yes, there are people at odds. It is what the media wants you to be, right? And I hope people are big-brained enough to actually see past that. I hope most people are just being reasonable. But at the end of the day, the core foundation of democracy and freedom has not been shaken. In fact, I think yesterday and actually everything that happened this year, you can take every single instance this year, doesn't matter what you agree with or what you believe in, has shown some semblance of freedom of expression.
Sure.
And that's something that America has, and it's something that Hong Kong was supposed to have. So
you
cannot equate that with the Hong Kong protests.
I might be quite unpopular by saying this, but it didn't affect anything. And, here's something from an outsider's perspective. This happened yesterday. Guess what? This morning, the garbage truck's still picking up my garbage over here. My water still runs. My electricity still runs. My neighbor still says, "Hi, Winston," when I walk out. Nothing around me changed. No. Okay? I haven't seen a change.
Political change is different than what systems we have in place.
What I'm trying to say here is that if it weren't for such a hyper-focus on these incidents by the mainstream media and so on, and I'm proving a point here, I wouldn't think anything had happened. Okay? Nothing has changed at all. And nothing has changed through any of these big riots or protests, unless, of course, you were living in that area and were affected by it or took part in these things. It probably did not affect your life, in your everyday life. And, I was here on a holiday, actually, during my trip, when the first election, when Trump was first elected, and there was a big hoo-ha. Nothing happened there either. Nothing happened during this whole thing. I'm just saying on the ground, I can't see it from my house perspective. Okay? The difference is that in China, when these big things happen, and big things happen all the time around China, you wouldn't know they happen because the news doesn't report on it because they're not allowed to. And this is a big difference. And that's why so many people feel as if China is so much more stable. But you think these riots and things don't happen. They happen all the time. Huge, villages attacking the police.
They stopped counting the amount of civil unrest there was in China. More than 400,000 cases per year. And then they stopped counting.
Yeah, exactly.
Pitchforks, fireworks being launched at police headquarters. Literally bulldozers overturned. Buildings on fire. Happens all the time in China. But there is no transparent media.
No.
See, I can't hear about it, right?
No, exactly. So,
some people would like to. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of comments right now, people talking about how deluded we are. What you have to understand is we do see the fallacies. We do see the problems here in the U.S. We see them because they are there. We drove through downtown Hollywood the other day, and we're incredibly upset with the unbelievable amount of homelessness.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't matter what fingers you point at anyone.
We went under bridges and we were filming
we filmed it. Tents. We came face to face with it because we know it's an issue, right?
Yeah.
We understand the issues here, so don't say I'm deluded. You know what it takes sometimes, and the people calling us deluded is it takes for you to step out of your comfort zone, because I can guarantee you a lot of these people that are saying this have not lived abroad for 10 plus years.
Yes.
Because you haven't seen the alternative.
Yeah.
Okay. You can compare whatever you want to whatever news network you're watching, but you haven't stepped out of your comfort zone and seen the alternative yet.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Also, there's a reason why we've got that Jurassic Park looking thing going on here.
Yes.
Let me show you what's going on.
Yes.
When I was 13 years old, okay, this was going to be the end of apartheid in South Africa. And they were having the big sort of meetings to finalize all the documents and things like that in the World Trade Center I think it was in Kempton Park.
Mm-hmm.
The ADVChina, or the AWB, stormed the building. Let me show you a little bit of this, okay? So they took an armored car and they rammed it through into the World Trade Center, and they stormed it.
Not the American World Trade Center.
No. That also got hit by a vehicle, but a plane.
Not a different vehicle.
Yeah. So anyway, here they came in here, and they're like paramilitary groups.
They're like white supremacists.
Yeah, they are right-wing. They're actually more like Afrikaner supremacists, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's more about the supremacy of the Afrikaners, and they've got their flag looks like the swastika, basically.
They couldn't come with something different.
So they went in there and they went their Eine Volk thing, and they went and stormed the building, and so. This happened when I was 13 years old in South Africa, and
it's gun zoom.
Yeah, I know, but this is something that happened, and again, it didn't change anything.
Leave it on there.
We'll leave it on there. It didn't actually end up changing anything. Of course, the bill carried on, got signed, all this stuff that had to happen happened, and the transfer of South Africa went on. But I saw some parallels there, There's a big hoo-ha thing, but at the end of the day, nothing happened. And I think we're going to find the same with this. What happened to me, it just shows that there is the freedom for something like that to actually happen in this country. To me, it's a positive thing. No violence is positive, by the way, and definitely no deaths or anything. But the fact that this kind of thing was allowed to happen without the military just gunning everybody down like they would do in China is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see a result from this one way or the other, It's whatever this process of the vote count or whatever, it's still going on.
I'm saying in the zeitgeist of this whole thing, there will be change because things are being addressed, right?
Guess what? It's over.
Right.
It was a day.
Right.
It's done. That's it. It's not like the Hong Kong protests that went on forever, and there were like millions of people involved and just taking on the streets and all this kind of stuff. And so, of course, the rest of the world, especially countries like China, are going to make a big thing out of it, as if this is a part of daily life in America, and this is what everybody's experiencing, where the majority of Americans, at least that aren't in Washington, D.C. right now, aren't actually affected by this. They're affected mentally, and they believe that, it doesn't matter which side you're on. This is terrible because of this. This is terrible because of that. This is going to change our politics. I'm going to have to pay more tax. There's less freedom here. There's all this kind of crap going on. But at the end of the day, if you want to look at it from an outside the box perspective, it's actually not as bad as people are making it out to be.
You are under constant attack from basically advertising. If you talk about like most of mainstream media, it's advertising.
Yeah.
They want you to be very alarmed in both sides of the story here.
Yeah.
Very alarmed at what's happening.
Yeah.
And everything's burning down and everything's going to be over. And it's all absolutisms.
Yeah.
Everyth's gone. There goes our freedom. There goes this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's already been taken over by this. You don't understand. It's all rotten to the core, right?
Sure.
You don't understand that that's not how logic works, right?
Yeah.
You're feeding into that bullshit.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what China's feeding off of. And this is what bothers me.
Yeah.
This is why we brought this up, is that you see Chen Weihua, which is our favorite foul-mouthed
Oh, yeah,
bastard.
he's the fucking mouse. That's it. Yeah.
He's the one that flings the F-bombs around in tweets.
Yeah.
Anyway, he basically, Secretary Pompeo said it was unacceptable what happened yesterday, and everybody has the right to peaceful protest. And Chen Weihua, again, not to defend Secretary Pompeo, but I have to with his statement here.
Sure.
you condemn the Hong Kong mobs who stormed the HKSAR legislature council building and vandalize everything inside. So here we are again
Trying
with
to
this
put words in his
absolute
mouth,
words in your mouth
Yeah.
bullshit. This is how China does. This is what Hua Chunying just did in her speech, which was the state, literally the statement from the government about what happened. What they do is they have to equate everything to completely black or white. So when Secretary Pompeo says anything, or any politician in the U.S. says anything about how the rights of the Hong Kong people are good to go out and protest, I can speak on their behalf by saying they're not talking about violence.
Yeah.
They're not talking about people going out and being violent and setting people on fire.
Sure.
They like to say this all the time. I've seen YouTubers do this too. They're like, what about that guy in Hong Kong that set the old man on fire?
What a scumbag individual that guy was.
We're not. Nobody's celebrating that.
Yeah.
Who's celebrating? If you're celebrating that, you're a psychopath. And this is exactly the Chinese logic: is that if you're celebrating Hong Kong democracy, then you're celebrating violence and vandalism.
I know, it's ridiculous. No.
It's like saying, like what happened yesterday. If you think it was good that people were able to protest yesterday, then immediately all the people that vandalized and went inside and stole it. That means you're only supporting those people.
No,
right?
I condemn the people that actually break in and try to do bad
but
things.
China doesn't want that
but the
separation.
I'm all for peaceful protests, but you're always going to get bad eggs, mixed in amongst the rest that get caught up in the moment and do bad things. This happens every time. It doesn't matter which side of the fence,
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you're leftist or rightist or centrist or whatever. There's always going to be that little core group of nasties in there that are going to take it to the next level and ruin it for everyone else.
Correct. Right.
So that's just kind of what you have to come to expect.
And I do want everyone out there to I know it's just the live comments and people, the most vocal people are going to be out there.
Yeah.
Have to understand that when Winston and I are speaking about this, we're not coming from a perspective politically at all.
No.
Me and Winston and I both are different politically. Yet we
completely.
can still completely agree that authoritarianism is not a good thing.
No.
In authoritarian communist China, we both lived through it for over a decade.
Yeah.
And we both know what direction it's going in right now. And I think that everyone should be on the same page. And that's why I don't like to see this factionalism and divisionism.
Yeah.
There needs to be unity. It doesn't matter what political side you're on. The unity in that you don't want a government like this running your country or even having a minute influence over your nation. I promise you do not want this. It is a very slippery slope and a very dark path to go down. It's like the Sith.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I think, and this is a point I make in my tomorrow video, not to take away from it, but at the end of the day, you have a situation where a lot of people are very disenfranchised. They feel like there's no hope. It doesn't matter if you're left-wing, right-wing, centrist. You're looking at this political situation, whether it be in the US or the EU or Brexit or whatever it is, and you're like, you've lost hope. You're like, everything that I support and everything that I've fought for or everything that I've believed in or believe in is kind of just... it's all gone. There's nothing I can do about it. It's gone to the wayside. It's gone to shit. It's going badly. And then they see China with a strongman stance about like, we will maintain harmony in society. We will lock down and get rid of the COVID virus. And they're taking it at face value, right? And they're like, man, I wish we had that kind of stability. Man, I wish that we had a system that kind of just... stuck to this and
it's face value.
It's all this, and so they start to look to China as some kind of a role model, and this is dangerous because what they don't realize is just how incorrect that information and that image that they're putting forward is. And you also must realize that you can go to jail for smoking a joint in China. Okay, so if you've ever smoked a joint, you're gonna go to jail if you try to do that in China. Just petty little things. Criticizing the government can put you in jail.
Right.
And you're probably very critical of your own government. I'm pretty sure you are. So, that kind of thing, it's a bad system, but you're trying to think it's good. It's just like those morons who wear Che Guevara on their T-shirts.
Yeah.
They think he's some kind of freedom fighter, but he's like the most horrible man who hates gays and black people, and he's a racist, terrible person who did terrible things. But the kind of people that wear him on their chest are the kind of people who are all about like... freedom for minorities and freedom from oppression and all this
animal
kind of
rights
and
stuff.
and all this kind of stuff. They don't realize that they're putting like this horrible man on their chest. But it's that kind of situation. You got to be careful of this.
Right.
Anyway, I think we should probably hit some super chats. What do you say?
Yes.
I think this topic's pretty much done.
Yes.
Okay.
Tornado Brick, do you know CANZUK, a potential union between Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK with free trade and free movement? Now it's possible due to Brexit. Interesting. I didn't know about that.
Nope.
Manjish Deb. Hey, SC Milk and SerpentZA. Do Chinese quite often use terms like trash and scram?
Trash, yes. They call us trash all the time. They like to use the...
Scram.
they like to use white trash.
I haven't heard scram since like Looney Tunes.
Scram, get out of here. Damn
But
kids,
yeah.
get off the porch.
I think
Scram.
you meant scum, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Trash for sure.
Yeah.
We get called garbage people all the time.
Yeah.
Massive things are going to happen in the U.S. government over the next couple weeks. Stay tuned. Keep a week of food and water ready. Okay.
Sure.
Bazam Demand. Felt like you deserved a little extra.
Thank you.
All the love, guys. Thanks. Good. Thank you very much. AQ TNet. Winston and UNC Milk are doing an awesome job. Is it true that China is having a shortage of electric power because of lack of coal, according to China in Focus, or is it a lie?
We actually spoke about that last week in our podcast. Yeah. They've got a huge reserve of coal, and they have a lot of coal mines in China. So it's not about Australia, and they don't have a lack of coal.
They need it, but it's not the end of the world. They're just not going to see blackouts.
No. The thing is, it's the logistics are much harder for them to bring the coal down than to just get it from Australia. So, I mean, it probably is disrupting some things, but it doesn't mean that they don't have the coal. They certainly have enough.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jonathan Harrison, hey guys, love what you do and enjoyed it for years. Informed and helped me prepare for my family for the Mad 2020. Roll on 2021 with a beer on me.
Thanks, mate. You. Absolutely.
Charles Womack, I thought it was just the Irish drinking and fighting. No way.
No.
Jeremiah Johnson, keep spreading the truth. As you know it, boys, it's all any of us can do. Thanks for all the hard work and great info last year. Let's hope this year is a good year for those working towards freedom.
Yeah.
I agree. Thank you. And Tyler Durden, 3333. If you could have a one-on-one chat with Xi Jinping, what would you say to him? Love both your work and keep up the effort. I would. It'd be a very simple chat. I'd say you need to, you have the power in your, because he's pretty old. You have the power in your lifetime to completely change China.
I'd just throat punch him. I'd use that opportunity to sacrifice myself.
Then his next in line would just,
I guess so.
At least you could give him a little guidance,
Okay,
and then you could throw punch him.
Okay.
Why don't you say it first and then throw punch him?
Okay, sure. You know what I mean? Throw him out a window. Take him with me. I'll just jump out with him. Do the world a favor.
Yeah, love to be here again, boys. Xinyan Kuaila and all the best. I saw Brawls in Hangzhou and Jiaxing. Enjoying Shaokao.
Yeah.
Here's some diaper and beer and
fantastic.
Diaper. Thank you.
Jayo,
Enjoy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And we'll do one more.
Okay.
Daredevil, because we got a lot today. Appreciate it, guys. Crap. Holy mother.
What are you doing there?
I have no idea where I am. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
Daredevil 1985. Cheers from Canada. Here's some money to buy your dad a cookie.
Yes, very nice. Yeah. Back to the bracelet thing. Yeah.
I love all your content with Okay, we'll come back to you guys in a little bit. Next segment.
Okay, last segment, of course, is Worldview, where we talk about everything in the world, but specifically related to China.
Sure.
It's kind of like What's New, but it's more focused on the world.
Yes.
Okay,
pretty much all these segments are like one, but we break it up.
No, they're not. They're different.
They're totally different, guys. Here we had 50 pro-democracy activists arrested in Hong Kong under the new national security law.
Yeah.
Actually, they're lawmakers and politicians as well.
And this is also why you cannot compare the Capitol building thing and the Hong Kong protests, because this is what the Hong Kong protesters were fighting against, was this national security law, which is now being used to pretty much nab anyone they don't like.
By the way, China said they wouldn't use it. They were like, oh yeah, it's been implemented in Macau. We've never even used it before. And that it's literally being used constantly.
Yeah, whereas what happened in the thing here, the Capitol building here, is just completely unrelated.
It can't be equated.
No, it's not. The people in Hong Kong, not the violent crap, but the protests are completely justified. And you know what? I support them wholeheartedly. You can put me down on record to say that I 100% support the protests in Hong Kong.
Me too. But I think any protest should be is what's it called? What was the word you used?
What? Good.
Good? Did you say good?
No, I didn't.
Any protest should be allowed.
Yeah. Right? Yes, of course. Peaceful protest.
A peaceful protest.
Don't get out of hand, because then you're just an ass.
The thing is with this whole thing is that they've used the national security law over and over again to arrest people, and so it's ahead of the vote, right? So these pro-democracy people can't go and vote.
Yeah.
Joshua Wong was just another freedom fighter in Hong Kong, rearrested.
Yeah.
Under the national security law, the very thing that he was standing up against So here we are. We got a situation now where China, with impunity, is just using the national
They
security law over
were
and
they
over
were
again.
protesting specifically to prevent this from happening, and guess what? Now it's happening. So they've been ratified in their protests. You know, everybody out there, pay attention, because this is what happens if you just allow the CCP to get its way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And they use Western systems against the West. That's why they're using this as an example of, oh, look, you guys shouldn't do that. See, you idiots, you called us bad, but look at you.
Right.
You know, that kind
using
of thing.
absolutism. Because, like,
Yeah.
again,
Whataboutism.
not to go back to, like, the comments and stuff that fling through here, but a lot of them that they say, oh, they jump to conclusions. They go, oh, Sea Milk's a liberal and Winston's a conservative. By the way, you're wrong. Number two, you use absolutisms because that's what the media continues to do. And the CCP is really no different in that respect.
No.
They use absolutisms to try to control you and say, you know what, they're right.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday, whether you approve of it or not, you're going to be confirmed that yesterday was awesome, or you're going to be like, damn, they're right.
Yeah.
It's just like in Hong Kong. Now I can look at it from a different perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's exactly the logic they want people to have. And unfortunately, it's completely poisonous.
Yeah, exactly. Or it could just be, look, there's a bunch of lunatics running around doing some crap, and guess what? It's taken care of. Let's move on.
And many of the people that participated in yesterday's protests had very legitimate grievances and concerns,
Sure.
and there's a reason that they assembled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so many ways you can look at it, and it has nothing to do with the CCP's brutal crackdown in eradicating and literally destroying democracy in Hong Kong.
Right.
It's just a city of China now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Anyway.
Let's move on to our questions and answers, guys, because that's the end of Worldview. So let me find my little button. I got this cool little button here that I push, and then bam! Questions and answers, where we answer your questions and you question our answers. Yes, let's do it.
Case Clause 93, Winston is a South African immigrant to the U.S. Well, not yet.
I mean,
you are, but you aren't.
Yeah, no, I'm not an immigrant. I'm on a what's called a non-immigrant visa.
Yes.
So.
To the U.S., what do you think of Elon Musk being the richest man in the world? He was knighted as the richest
was
man in
he?
the world today. Yeah.
Well, you see, I think I've been thinking about this for a while.
We talked about this.
Yeah, just earlier today. Elon Musk is South African like I am. Okay, I get, all the time whenever I talk about China and stuff, one of the go-to attacks against me by the nationalists is, you are racist South African. You benefited from apartheid. All this kind of shit, right? But you know what? No, South Africa only ever held me back. Leaving South Africa was the best thing I ever did. Once I could escape that shit country. Sorry, any South Africans watching here, but deep down, it's true. Not the actual land and the, that's
and the people.
Yeah, the people and stuff. But the
current situation.
the country, the situation. Once I escaped that shit country, it was the first time in my life where I could actually progress and grow and actually find my full potential. And so you look at someone like Elon Musk. People aren't going and saying, "Oh, Elon Musk, you benefited from
South
apartheid.
Africa.
You this and that." He's in the same boat as I am. He left South Africa and then pursued his dreams. And, it just shows you how stupid labeling someone based on their nationality is, really, at the end of the day. And I have a story which I probably have recounted once or twice. I do this a lot. But when I was in Shenzhen and I was hanging out with a bunch of expats, we went to this bar. I was actually hanging out with a bunch of Japanese people.
Sure.
My friend Akito-san and some of his friends. And we went and met up with some of their friends and just happened to all be expats. So you had some guys there from Australia, someone else from Canada, the usual stuff. We're all having a drink, we're all chatting. And there was an American girl there, an African-American girl in the thing. And she was going around, we're hitting it off, cheers, having beer together, having a good old time. And then everyone was like getting around to so where are you from? And,
sure.
Because of the accents and stuff. And this guy, I'm from Australia. Oh, so nice to meet you. And got to me where are you from? I'm from South Africa. And all of a sudden, this woman who we're having a great time together, she was a wonderful person from what I could tell, was immediately like, what? You're from South Africa? And then she became incredibly hostile towards me for the rest of the night. She was really being a bitch just because she immediately, in her mind, was like, he's South African, he must be racist or something. And she started to bring all her victim bullshit there and just completely ruined the evening. So being able to just get away from that situation is the great equalizer, because now I'm no different from anyone else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense to you. So when it comes to your question about Elon Musk being the richest man in the world, good for him. It's good for anyone. It doesn't matter where you're from, and it doesn't matter what your country of origin is. if you're a good person or if you're a capable person and you achieve something great, and good on you. It means you've got drive in your life and you're doing the right thing. Yeah.
Well said. Well
Thanks.
said.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. App cool dude. I appreciate all the informative and fun videos. Here's my thank you. Thank
Pleasure.
you very much. Appreciate that. Matt Backlund, love your stuff. Hope you and your families are doing well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Milky Chen, China in Focus, reliable news channel.
I'm not actually sure. I've never seen their stuff.
That's like that NTD Falun Gong.
Oh, it's a Falun Gong thing? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Not that that's bad. It's just
No. It's agenda-driven.
Yeah. Jonathan Case, how many people in China do you think own guns? There are people. It's
Very few.
very few. It's definitely
Man,
criminals.
dude, that poor...
You can buy guns in Guangxi.
That poor kid that imported not pellet guns, airsoft guns from Japan got put in jail.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about people on the borders. There's arms trade.
That freaking pilot who bought a bag of BB
Yes.
BB pellets from a market got put in jail.
Yes.
Come on. It's like guns in China, it's not really a thing, guys.
But it is with
criminals.
criminals.
Criminals, sure.
There's shootout videos.
That's like every country in the world.
Yes.
You get, guns in the UK, for goodness sake,
I heard you can buy illegal gun kits on Taobao, and I would not be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Hamza Durvish, thank you very much. Leung, thank you. Fix the truck money.
Yes,
thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's coming along. Derek Nguyen, thank you. Have no screen name girl. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Magnum Beef, otherwise known as Orc Monkey.
2000.
Hey y'all, no questions here, but thanks as always for everything you guys do. I'm looking forward to the future ADV adventures in America, hopefully soon, and the rest of the world.
Excellent.
They're coming very soon. Dave, Civil War coming, guys? I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Hudson Heaven Hill, you guys are spreading the right message. Thanks for all you do, especially right now.
Oh wait, you know why I say I doubt the Civil War is coming? It's because that was always the thing in South Africa, You saw that footage we showed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You had very, very, and you still have, very militant right-wing Afrikaners who their whole purpose in life is to try and further the Afrikaans society or whatever it is, the folk, and they have Oranje, or they've got all these like volksstads, they call them, these like little things. Which is fine if that's what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with that, But the fact of the matter is that there always has been a threat of civil war in South Africa. And the opportunity for civil war to come has been there so many times, been pushed to the brink. When the leader of the AWB was kind of chopped up and murdered and stuff like that, everyone thought, oh, it's going to happen. When Nelson Mandela passed away, the whole rumor was as soon as he dies, everyone's going to be genocided, All of these things were going on and still continue to go on to this day. But guess what? There still isn't a civil war. It still hasn't happened yet. And South Africa is a hell of a lot more unstable than America. South Africa is a country where there are 56 murders a day. It's a place where things are fucked. The electricity goes off all the time. Basic infrastructure. Everyone's on lockdown. You can't buy booze. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the Wild West in comparison to a very stable country like America. And America is incredibly stable. I know it's hard for Americans to hear because you love to complain about it being like such a terrible place, but it's awesome, okay? Tons of problems, yes. Lots of problems that are out of control need to be addressed, no doubt. But it's too stable to go into a civil war. It's not going to happen from my perspective. Having lived in a piece of shit country like South Africa that's been on the brink of civil war since the sort of 60s, I mean... I'm not going to get into it. I've talked about South Africa too much here, but I'm just saying from my own personal experience, I don't think there will be a civil war in America. That's all I'm saying.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
What's the minimum, Beverly says, what's the minimum subscribers or watch time a supportive YouTube podcast needs before you would consider being interviewed on their show? That's not how we roll.
No, I don't
the
know.
issue is literally about a time for us.
Yeah.
We are so chock full. We barely have enough time to spend with our families. It's just tough for that. But if we can schedule something in, we'll do pretty much any interview that,
Yeah.
We'll try, make an effort.
Sure.
JNA, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
You too. Jeremiah Berry, hey you. Hey you too. Matthew Phillips. I saw a lot more race diversity in yesterday's protest turn Ryut than at a BLM Ryut in 2020. Matthew says, BLM enables white liberals to be terrible towards POCs when they don't play the victim card. And that's the thing, is you can express that opinion.
Yeah. All that crap is so annoying, especially to myself. I've had it up to here. I thought I would be able to get rid of some of that crap when I left South Africa, get rid of that nonsense, everyday nonsense, but whatever, it is what it is.
And people still, on both sides take these things very much to heart. So you have to keep that in mind. It's another thing. It's even if you remove South Africa out of the picture, just us both living abroad for so long, you get a very different perspective on things.
I like how all around our neighborhoods here in LA, people have signs on their lawns like, this household believes everyone, all lives matter.
Sure.
What is it? Science. They've got like a list. And I mean, if I was going to make a sign for my house, I would be like, this house believes that whatever you believe is correct. Because that's pretty much what they're trying to say. Exactly. It's just believe
like
I know.
Bases.
They cover all the bases. It's funny. I see it stuck in people's cars as well.
Yeah.
I'll take a photo of that next time I see it. There's tons.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, all over.
Which is fine.
I feel like it's a defense. It's like
a
don't
defense.
trash my lawn.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dave Murray.
Yeah.
Thank you. Julian Colbus. It's naive to say it didn't happen on my street, so nothing changed. Unsuccessful coups embolden insurgents and often followed by successful ones. Famously happened here in Germany.
That's what I was saying, though. It's like I'm trying to prove that point. It didn't happen on my street, so it's okay. That's what happens in China. That's how China runs.
Right.
People can live there for like 20 years and not know that like right next door, their neighbors were brutally murdered.
When you said you didn't see it on your street, we're literally not that. We're trying to use China logic here to tell you that's exactly how things work. We understand that there are issues. We see the issues. We live in LA. We know issues exist. Yes. There are big issues in LA. Sure. Yeah. We're probably in one of the biggest issue areas.
Yeah.
So we understand. Yeah. But we also have hope, and we believe that in the good of humanity.
Can't wait for you guys to see our next episode of ADVChina, because it's we went to Hollywood this week, and we went to Hollywood during lockdown because we wanted to show.
We wanted to see. Yeah, we live in LA, but we live enough outside the downtown area because they said the downtown area is like so under lockdown.
Yeah, it's like purple level. You can't go there, or whatever. So we're like, okay, let's go take a look, because a lot of our friends in China have been like, holy shit, you guys are in like such a lockdown, terrible state, but look how free we are. We can go around. Guess what? We went to all the tourist sites. People are out there doing yoga. Stupid Instagram chicks doing their barefoot dances. I filmed that, by the way. It's kind of funny. Life goes on. It's actually quite normal. So we did a nice little trip through Hollywood, and you'll be seeing that not this Monday, next Monday. We got to put it all together for you on ADVChina.
Yeah. Kevin says, I believe DC mayor said 4 people died in the protest. My bad. I thought it was 1.
Okay, well, if 4 people died, that's still very little.
It's not a good way to look at things, though. Human life is human life.
I agree with that, but at the same time, look at Tiananmen Square. How many thousands?
I know, but there's no comparison. That's the whole point. Is what are we? The CCP guy that says?
Yeah, it's it's not bad. Of course. I mean, I'm not trying to sound insensitive here, but
we made a mistake.
If it was 4 people, I still think that's really small compared to what actually happened.
Sure.
You think storming the Capitol building or whatever?
That's the comparison to make.
Yeah, you would think that things would get out of hand, especially the way, everyone paints specifically Trump supporters as like AR-15 toting like gun nuts that are going to go like kill everyone, and so you would think by the standard of the mainstream media and by most people that like a huge massacre would have happened.
Sure.
Agreed. But no, none of the legislating guys or the people in the building got hurt, did they? It's just the rioters and stuff. No. Yeah. Anyway.
3 died of medical issues.
Of medical issues. Okay, it's probably like their late onset diabetes finally kicked in. Too much effort gave them a heart attack. Anyway, sorry, I'm not.
My apologies.
Yeah, I'm being too insensitive. I apologize.
It's fine. Matthew Phillips, have you ever read Animal Farm 1984? Of course, we read it in school, both of them. Mm. It was funny when I.
Those are banned in China.
Well, no, they're not actually.
Oh, not?
No.
Oh, okay. No, they're seen as a
role
role model of like this is how it should be.
It's not seen as negative because it's not seen as criticism.
Right.
It's also not popular to read.
No.
Magna Beef, don't answer this question if you think it would take you places you don't want to discuss, but I'd have to ask, do you have any concerns about the potential for authoritarianism to rise from within the U.S.? I mean, the potential is everywhere. It's everyone's job to fight against authoritarianism, right?
Yes.
In ideology, in politics, in your institutions, in your education systems, and what you teach your children. But you have the freedom to stand up against that.
You do, and I think China has a big role to play in this, and they are playing the biggest role by trying. You're looking at another big successful economy, even though they claim to be poor and still accept aid from Canada. Sends tens of millions of dollars every year as aid to China, even though they claim to be like the big superpower and stuff. It's kind of dumb. Should stop sending aid to a country that claims to be so powerful, and you're basically just funding their military at this point. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, I think that they're really putting out this image that we've got it right, and I think that's going to lead to a situation where they get a lot of people moving over to this idea that authoritarianism is good, which is not good.
No.
So that's our role to play. One of our roles to play is to keep showing that this is. What you're seeing on the surface is not actually what's going on.
We're in a very lucky position that we have the experience of living in China, because it's a tasty fantasy to have all this order. When you see, if you're consuming constantly mainstream media on any end of the spectrum, then you're also going to, like you said, fall into this trap. The authoritarianism trap that a central planned government is better. What you don't understand is it's chaotic in China. It depends on it happens randomly. It's chaotic in China, but it's also incredibly suffocating. And you don't understand what you have, or maybe you don't. Maybe you take it for granted, the freedoms that you have. Until you go to a place like China and then learn the language and understand actually the oppression that people live under. Anyway, holy mother, I hate when it does this.
It always does.
Okay. Miles Dolding, would you say the CCP is more interested in AI or space exploration? Definitely AI.
Yeah, the whole space exploration thing, it's just a catch-up game. I think they just want to prove, look, we can do it too. Yes, America went to the moon, but now we can as well.
Because they always looked up to the Soviet Union back then, and then America was like the villain, and now it's kind of, there's still a hangover from that.
Yeah, and it's just like, they're a bit late. I think America landed in the 60s, was 68 or something, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there on the moon, and I guess better late than never.
Yep.
We could do it too.
Ifan Pan. China is covering up spreading infection again. What could possibly go wrong? Am I right? Looking forward to the next podcast on this issue. Keep up the good work, guys. Yes.
Sure thing.
DSD Kane. Thank you. Koala 1203. Why can't we all get along, mates? Exactly. Come on,
Let's
guys.
all get along. Yeah.
11. Winston, you once said in a video that Chinese women are very jealous. Did the sexy cyborg get you in trouble?
No, I mean, look, my wife obviously was a little uncomfortable about the videos that I made together with her, but she understands that,
Was she?
Yeah, I mean, you pick up on these things. She's kind of a little jealous about it, but at the same time, obviously, I'm not the kind of person who'd ever cheat, and I respect I respect women for being who they are. I don't see them as opportunities to have a relationship. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, when I met up with Sexy Cyborg, it was just all about like, hey, she does what she does, and I respect who she is. And
why can't it just be like that?
Yeah, and that's all it was. But
let's just be normal. How about that?
Yeah.
Deanne Chapman, here's some funds for an O2 sensor. Thank you. We actually need that desperately.
And I actually I fixed that.
I'm saying we need the money to recoup.
Yeah.
Because they are very expensive.
Very expensive O2 sensors. I tell you what. Yeah. Thank
Jonathan Cabanas. Hey guys. Big fan of both your content. Someone who wants to visit Asia when the pandemic ends, do you recommend visiting China or Vietnam first?
That's a tough one,
Yeah.
I think like to visit China, if they ever get to the point where they're not like, oh, it's a foreigner, he's a disease carrier.
Sure, that's going to be a hangover.
It's going to for a while. China's an amazing place to visit.
It is.
It's great. I just don't think it's a good idea to live there long term or invest there or anything like that.
Or support the regime.
Yeah, you got to not support the regime, but to go and see it is something.
Sure.
Vietnam's very happy-go-lucky. If you're out there for just
it's a party,
just have a party, I think Vietnam's probably a better bet.
Also 10 times cheaper.
Yeah, and there's less chance of you getting into trouble. Yeah.
Very true. It's much more like, I almost said Swabian.
Yeah.
Much more like...
relaxed.
Not free, it's relaxed.
It's relaxed. Yeah.
CPG, thank you very much. Urgers, thank you for your content. My question is, what do you think of poisoning Alexei Navalny? How would you describe Russian and Chinese relations? Russian-Chinese relations, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any opinion on that. I just know that's how Russia operates. Russia's not a free country.
No.
China and Russia relations are very like... They will get along with each other if it's in their best interest at the moment.
Yeah.
But Russia does not respect China. I can tell you this: Russia does not respect China at all.
No, sure.
I would say they're very, very. They're not. They're cold. The relationship's cold.
Yeah.
11, Matt, you did a video on differences among people in different regions of China from height and how friendly they are. Where would Taiwanese people fit? Well, they'd be almost the
Like
same as
Fujian.
people in Fujian.
Yeah.
So if you look at Fujian province,
Southeast.
shorter than average. However, Taiwan had a lot more nutrition throughout its, the 70s and 80s and 90s compared to China.
Mm-hmm.
So the people did grow to their full potential.
Sure.
As opposed to a lot of people in China. I mean, I know my wife did, and she was malnourished throughout her childhood.
Yeah.
Friendliness, Taiwanese people are incredibly friendly, but they're not
Super
outgoing.
friendly. Yeah.
If you're just going to generalize, they're not outgoing. They're like Southern Chinese people in that they're a little bit more reserved.
Yeah, but super friendly. If you
very friendly.
ever strike up a conversation when you're in
And they'll help
Taiwan,
you.
and a lot of them can speak English, which is great. They're very helpful.
They'll help you in a bind.
Always had good experiences there.
Me too. James, cheers from Canada. Hope Winston can get a visa and you guys get a chance to do the Icefields Parkway in 2022.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Jacob, 1986. Mongoose, why was that bike so hard to ride? You talking about me when I was the mongoose? It wasn't hard to ride. What are you talking? Oh, that bike. That bike. It wasn't so hard to ride. The competition in that video is who can ride their bike the slowest. So I lost because I was the fastest. It was who can keep the bike balanced like at slow speeds. And I borrowed someone's bike that didn't have brakes, so I couldn't like modulate the brake.
He's talking about an old YouTube video I did for those of you who don't know. Mm-hmm.
Salvador W2, you guys need to get on Tim Brawls.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. All right.
Sure.
We are in contact, but they won't reply. Okay, you guys, I appreciate it. You guys keep sending those super chats. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
King313.
Yeah.
Hey guys, love your work. I follow all your channels. The other day I noticed how much Winston looks like Agent Hudson from Black Ops.
Really?
It's probably the suit.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe you are him.
Yeah, it's possible. Just joking.
Dan Ferentz, funds. Hey Dan, what's going on? Funds for the Gas Hog V10
Nice.
should cover 1 gallon in California.
Yeah.
Very true.
That is ridiculous. How
Dude,
much?
5 gallons. We got 5 miles per gallon on the highway the other day.
Yeah, but we did it. It's got a distance to empty thing, a DTE, which tells you how much you've got left. You can get like 200 miles on a 35-gallon tank.
Yes.
And here it's like 370 for a gallon.
Yeah. Usually 4.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
It's ridiculous. Danny, how do you? Are you guys gonna do Ronaldo Guo's video?
Jos.
Oh,
Ronaldo Jos. He's
that?
like a, I don't know. He's like a South African political commentator. I don't know much about him. Yeah.
Interesting. Mark Owen, when I discuss the horrors of Mao Zedong with Chinese people, they always counter by pointing out slavery in America and the fact that George Washington himself owned slaves. What does that have to do with murdering 50 million of your own citizens?
That's the thing. It's always whataboutism, and that's just what they've done with this Capitol building thing. It's like, oh, we may have problems, but yours are worse.
Who walks around saying slavery was good 150 years? Who walks around saying slavery was good?
Nobody.
No. Who walks around saying that they justified the 50 plus million murders of Mao Zedong? A lot of people.
Yes, a lot of people.
Let's talk about being brainwashed.
Yeah.
Hans Ford, hey guys, I'm a huge fan of your work, and mainly because I'm half Chinese. My mother's from China, very anti-CCP. Do me a favor, I want to see the both of you guys do the Joe Rogan podcast. We'd love to.
Sure.
Again,
Yeah.
I wish they would talk to us.
Yeah. If we could, we would. Yeah.
Mike, and thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mike Huter, rat dropping bubonic plague test kit money.
Yeah.
Still loving the track. Good.
Yeah,
There's
thanks.
a lot of rat
turd.
shit
A lot of
in
rat turd. Yeah.
in that engine.
And
bay.
rat urine. That wasn't fun.
No. I didn't have a mask. Everyone was like, oh, Sumok's won it. I didn't have a mask on like you.
Yeah, I know, but you just pissed off somewhere. and
Yeah,
didn't
because I
come-
didn't have a mask.
I had to single-handedly go through the rat's turd, but whatever. It's life.
You like animals more than I do, so
Yeah, I suppose.
you have more tolerance. You know?
Sure.
Dennis, I've also had severe lung infections fairly recently. So.
Right.
Dennis Stafford, truck, cycles.
My turn
open
for
road.
the light gate.
Oh, you got light.
Yeah.
Dennis Stafford, truck, cycles, open road. When? Very, 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 very soon. Very soon. We got to wait for like Uber lockdown to kind of go down to go anywhere meaningful. 11. Some time ago, you guys told a story from when you went to Las Vegas. Did you record any videos? We don't talk about that. No, I'm joking. Nothing bad happened. We did. We did a bunch of videos.
Yeah, on ADVChina, we've got a bunch that were
check it out.
in Las Vegas, yeah.
ADVChina. Catch Bay, would you like to do a video about Orania, or is it too hot topic?
Orania is one of those, like...
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay,
it's an Afrikaner outpost, holdout. I watched some Vice thing about it.
Oh, okay.
I think. It's interesting. It's
I mean,
not a hot topic. I mean, it's not spicy.
I can talk about it from my experience.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of Afrikaans people, and and I can speak the language, and so
There you go.
I can give a little bit of insight into it.
I would.
I'm not Afrikaans myself, and
No.
They actually hate people like me.
That's the thing is they think they're
kind of
white
people-
supremacists, but you're right in saying that they're actually Afrikaner supremacists.
Yeah, no, they
hate Englishmen.
call me a salt peel and a
Salt dick.
ruinek and whatever else, and want to beat me up at a bar because I'm looking at them or whatever. By the way, I did get a massive smack that time around.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a sucker punch because I kind of ignored him. He just gave me a massive hit on the back of the head, and like all that fluid came out my nose, whatever. Anyway,
That's horrible.
it's my fault
Isn't
for
that
going to a
brain fluid?
bonehead bar. I don't know what it is, but yeah,
It's called blood. Like Hawk 52.
no, it's
I know,
like
I'm
clear
joking. I'm
liquid.
joking.
Don't know what it was.
Water on the brain, right?
Yeah.
Hawk 52 for your eventual Japan trip fun. Well, that's what we're really looking forward
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Looking forward to watching.
Mhm.
I'll take you out to an izakaya if I'm in the country at the time. My treat. Thanks,
Oh,
man. Appreciate it.
fantastic!
We love it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's my favorite thing to do.
Thanks for the answers. Love you guys.
Pleasure.
William White, will it be possible for you guys to ever visit China again? Are you guys in list for life? Not under the current leadership.
Yeah. No.
Dave,
Look
we're
at all this
hoping
light.
for the best.
I speak truth.
Oh, you're like a cult leader. Big
Yeah.
cult content coming up real soon, guys. For all those people that
Yeah.
the new. By the way, not to spoil your thing, but the new Wu Mao thing, the new
Mhm.
50 Cent Army thing, and the pro CCP shill YouTubers,
Yeah.
they're convinced that we're paid by Falun Gong,
I
which is this
know.
kind of cult thing where it's like these. You'll probably get flyers for Shen Yun. We've talked about this, but they do this breathing shit. It's
like Tai Chi and
Qigong,
breathing.
like Tai Chi.
They also believe you can fly
Fly and
around
shit.
and cure cancer
We
and stuff.
support them 100% in their endeavors, but we have never been approached by them. We have, however, been approached by the CCP multiple times.
Yeah, exactly.
To do CCP propaganda.
Absolutely
So
right. Yeah.
you guys are way off base on that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Dave M, guys, no question, just support and update. My safety course was canceled for snow, but I bought my first bike. I used Ninja 300. Good choice. Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
In storage until spring. Thanks for the inspiration. No problem, Dave.
Gonna
I
have
love to
fun.
hear that there's lots of riders out there that get on
Yeah.
bikes because of us.
This,
You can go deal with that.
I'm gonna go deal with that.
Dylan Faltisco, you should get on Prim Prul's show. They're just taking the piss now. I love it. Marks, and I think the new meme is just we should make merch. It'd be like Tim Pool, get
Yeah.
us on.
Yeah,
I
get
don't want
us
to
on.
sound like we're desperate, but like so many people have put us in contact, and we are in contact.
Sure.
That's the thing is we're still waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll do this every
It's just
time.
a running joke.
It's a running joke at this
Yeah.
point.
Mhm.
Noble, I've always wondered if there's a social incentive to Chinese gamers cheating online. It seems rampant, but I'm curious why it's like this. There is a lot of culture of cheating because that's how communist countries work. You have to
Yeah.
cheat to get ahead.
Correct.
And like even test answers, exams in China, the teachers will oftentimes, just to get the scores up, will give the answers to the students.
Dude, when I was studying, I studied Mandarin in the Shenzhen University.
Yeah.
And right before the test, our teacher read us all the answers in the class before we went to test. Okay. And then while we were having the test, I don't know if it was other students or something, were shouting out the answers.
Yeah.
Nobody stopped them.
No.
Everybody passed.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how it is in a university.
Yep.
So just saying.
Even driver's license tests.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was fun.
Our tour. Thank you very much. Dylan Faltisco. I'd love to see the Tokyo rides after traveling improves. Can't wait.
Yes, it's gonna
Koala 1203. How did the average Chinese view the Sino-Soviet split in the 60s? It wasn't China's fault, and the Soviet Union was being too swayed by the evil Western powers.
They saw it how the Communist Party told them to see it.
Yes.
And then Mao Zedong went crazy and built an underground city in Beijing,
Yes.
Dixiacheng.
He actually
where-
thought that the Soviet Union was going to attack
was going to
China.
nuke them, yeah.
The people don't understand. The Soviet Union, China, and Russia and China do not have good relations.
No.
But Mao was obsessed with the Soviet Union, trying to
Yeah.
That's why so many Chinese people starved, is for face.
Yeah.
It literally, you can take communism out. Chinese people starved. Millions of Chinese people starved under Chairman Mao because of face.
Yeah.
Because he wanted the quotas to surpass the Soviet Union.
So while everyone was starving, they were exporting
they were exporting grain to the Soviet
Yeah.
Union.
Just to prove that they could do it.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Danny, Indonesia has taken the Sinovac vaccine. Good idea?
No.
It's considered one of the worst candidates. There's another one's even worse, though, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Luke, U.S. people need to compromise. If there's a civil war, there needs to be a compromise to end it. Need to start doing all our thinking in our heads.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know where you're going. Dan Ferentz, Tim Pool or bust.
Nice. Fantastic.
Thanks.
Well, this has been a long
Appreciate
Q&A section.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the generosity today, guys. It's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Especially that absolutely astoundingly,
Yeah,
generous.
seriously, guys. But everyone's equally appreciated.
500 quid. Oh,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
Whether it's $1 or 500 quid.
Yeah.
We appreciate you very much for supporting us, guys.
It helps us through a dark time.
It's tough and difficult, believe it or not, what we do. We've got a lot of detractors, and we actually have an entire authoritarian government trying to shut us down.
Yes.
No joke.
Yeah.
Sickening.
There's a lot of things that happen that we don't tell you guys, and it's not because we're not being transparent. It's because we don't want to inspire them.
No, we don't want to inspire more of what happened. Yeah.
So anyway,
it's tough, but you guys keep us through. It's wonderful always to be able to interact with you, and can't wait to see you in the next one. I have a video coming tomorrow, which I would be tickled pink if you all watched. Because
and go watch my Jack Ma video as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen it already, it's a very good video.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot wait to see you in the next one. Don't forget, not this coming Monday, but the following one, we've got the Hollywood in Lockdown video coming out.
Yep.
We have our Worthless Whips on Tuesday as usual, where I'm busy resurrecting a massive big V10 Dodge Ram truck, among other cars. And occasionally we do our Playboy thing too on there, which is fun. And our usual videos. So we'll be seeing you throughout the week. Can't wait. Until next time, you know the drill.